Children's shows and movies are huge precursors to the joyful memories we experienced as kids, but some of these hold backstories so sinister that could ruin those moments you remember so dearly. These are 10 facts that will destroy your childhood. Little Red Riding Hood, like any other classic fairy tale, is originated from ancient folklore that had been orally told for centuries from one generation to the next. The tale had been considerably changing and was subject to numerous adaptations as they spread throughout the world. The Little Red Riding Hood story had been circulating since the 14th century in several European countries. The earliest written version of this tale is one collected by Charles Perrault in the 17th century. The most notable difference between the earlier and the more popular versions is that in the earlier version, the antagonist is sometimes a werewolf or an ogre. In its medieval version, the wolf leaves some of the grandmother's blood and meat that had been eaten for Little Red Riding Hood to eat. The girl then cannibalized her own grandmother unknowingly. Through the 1970s up until his death in 1991, Kevin Peter Hall was pretty much every monster you ever saw in any movie or TV show, but he was most famously known for playing the alien and Predator and Harry in Harry and the Hendersons. While working on Harry and the Hendersons as Harry the Bigfoot, Hall was involved in a serious car accident and was rushed to the hospital for a blood transfusion. Unfortunately, the blood received was tainted with HIV, which he contracted as a result. He would go on to become ill of an AIDS-related pneumonia which ended his life on April 10th of 1991. Ricardo Medina Jr. was a former TV star of the Power Rangers superhero series, but back in 2017 he was sentenced to 6 years in state prison for voluntary manslaughter. After getting in a heated argument with his roommate, Ricardo took a hold of his double-edged sword and stabbed his friend in the stomach, something that resulted in the man's death. Mood rings were a favorite amongst children in the 1970s and have entertained many generations to follow. The idea behind them is novel, but the ingredients that make this happen is called liquid crystal. Its particles rearrange with changes in temperature, which in turn changes its color. It is the same liquid crystal that you can find on any LCD TV and computer screen, but what most people don't know is that it contains toxic mercury and arsenic ingredients, making mood rings a particularly lethal toy in the hands and mouths of children. The velociraptors from Jurassic Park were designed to instill fear in the hearts of those watching the movie. But did you know that the film's sound designer, Gary Rinstorm, actually took these noises from turtles having intercourse? A fact that will forever change the way you look at Jurassic Park's carnivorous bipedal human-hungry dinosaurs. We all have a favorite animal from a childhood movie, whether it is the orca from Free Willy, the dogs in the Wild Adventure from Homeward Bound, Lassie, or even the piglet from Babe. The most likely case is that all of these animal celebrities are no longer alive. It is just a matter of time before we are all buried 6 feet under. The Lion King is one of Disney's most successful films. Having earned over $2 billion in box office and video sales, the movie touched the lives of many, making its characters memorable. That was until a Q&A. Someone asked Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff, the directors of the movie, who was Nala's father, who we know as Simba's partner. Minkoff answered that her father was obviously Mufasa and that he was the only male lion in the movie apart from Scar. The room went immediately quiet. What this essentially means is that Simba and Nala are siblings, but they are also a couple, and Kiara, their offspring, is a product of incest. 40 years ago, Richard O'Barry watched Kathy, a dolphin from the 1960s television show Flipper, kill herself. According to him, the dolphin looked him in the eye, sank to the bottom of the steel tank and stopped breathing. The moment would forever change Richard, transforming him into an animals' rights activist. He would go on to star in a role in The Cove, an Oscar-winning documentary about the dolphin meat business in a small town in Japan.
I remember going out there that day, and it was a very hot day, and she was black from sunburn. And so she swam over and looked me right in the eye, took a breath, and just held, just held it. Well, she sank to the bottom of the tank. I jumped in and pulled her to the surface. She committed suicide.
Hello. I said hello.
Judith Barsi, the original voice of Ducky in The Land Before Time, never lived to see her work become a success. Her and her mother, Maria, lived a life full of physical and mental abuse at the hands of her father, Joseph, who would regularly threaten to kill his wife, his daughter, and himself. The man would eventually follow through with his threats on July 25th of 1988, shooting both Judith, then only 10 years old, and Maria. He then set the bodies on fire before killing himself. We all watched cartoons as kids. These fed directly into our innocence. We became attached to them. For the same reason, as adults, we hold these dear to our hearts with an unmeasurable sense of nostalgia. Now, as adults, rewatching these old series can be eye-opening because you're able to pick up on more intricate details that are hidden and sometimes carry a heavy sexual connotation. It is fair to say that some are a mere coincidence, but others are so obvious that the scenes cannot be ignored. It is not a matter of opinion. It is not a matter of if you have a dirty mind or not. It is a fact that the subliminal message was planted there on purpose. This raises several questions. If this was the case back then, is it still taking place now? Although the child might not be directly exposed to this, he is indirectly. What is the purpose of it? Could these carry a deeper psychological meaning to attract viewers' attention? Could these carry on in a subconscious part of our psyche that follows us into adulthood? After seeing these, we can't help but feel that a very precious and treasured part of our childhood shatters. I am interested in hearing your opinions. Are we just being paranoid, or do you think that these were planted there on purpose? I will continue the discussion in the comment section. To help support the future of Gloomy House, consider becoming a patron. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter by following the links in the description. There, I will be able to answer all of your questions.